stop for a moment and answer this honestly. What happens when the people you thought were safe become part of the pain? Not enemies, not strangers, people who prayed beside you, people who lifted their hands in worship next to you, people who looked you in the eyes and said, "I'm here for you." What happens when betrayal does not just wound your heart, but quietly shakes your faith in God? Would you still believe? Or would you begin questioning everything you once trusted? After what happened to Jane, life no longer felt normal. Everything became awkward, heavy, uncomfortable. People stopped speaking to her the same way. Some lowered their voices when she walked by. Some avoided eye contact completely. Others stared too long, pretending not to. And somehow, pity hurt almost as much as betrayal. Because pity has a way of making someone feel broken without saying a word. Church became the hardest place to enter. The same sanctuary that once gave her peace now made her feel exposed. Jane would sit quietly in the back, Bible open on her lap, but emotionally, miles away. The worship music still played. People still shouted, "Amen." Hands were still lifted. But inside, she felt numb, disconnected. She still believed God was real. At least she wanted to. But she was exhausted from pretending she was okay. Exhausted from smiling politely while carrying pain no one really saw. Her prayers became shorter, then quieter, then almost non-existent. Not because she stopped loving God, but because disappointment had made her afraid to speak. One evening, while lying in bed, unable to sleep, her phone vibrated, a forwarded voice note. Jane almost deleted it immediately. She had already seen enough hurt, enough whispers, enough hidden conversations. But something deep inside her hesitated. So she pressed play. At first, there was static, then voices, familiar voices. People from church, people she trusted, people who had prayed over her with tears in their eyes. Then she heard laughter, and one voice said, "She acts so spiritual, but look how foolish she ended up." Jane stopped breathing for a second. Her chest tightened. Not because strangers were mocking her, but because these were people who knew her prayers, people who knew her struggles, people who knew exactly where she was wounded, and still chose to laugh there. Some wounds hurt loudly, others hurt quietly. But the deepest wounds are the ones that reveal who people truly are. And that night, Jane felt something inside her collapse, not all at once, slowly, silently, like a building giving way from the inside. She sat in darkness for a long time without moving. No tears, no words, just silence. Because sometimes pain becomes so deep that even crying feels impossible. Eventually, she whispered, "God, did I miss you? Did I confuse my feelings for your voice? Was I really following you, or just trusting people who claim they knew you?" And that was the real breaking point. Not the gossip, not the humiliation, not the betrayal. The real pain was that Jane no longer trusted herself. She started replaying every conversation, every warning she ignored, every moment she defended people who secretly wounded her. And slowly, fear entered her faith. Not fear of people, fear of being deceived again. A few days later, after service ended, Jane sat alone outside the church building. Everyone else was leaving, cars pulling away, soft conversations fading into the night air. That was when Michael noticed her. He sat beside her quietly. No dramatic speech, no forced encouragement, no fake spiritual answers, just presence. After a long silence, he finally said, "You know, people can misrepresent God, but they can never replace him." Jane looked down at her hands. Michael continued softly, broken people sometimes speak in God's name. That does not mean God broke you. For the first time in weeks, Jane felt her guard weaken because he was not rushing her healing. He was not pressuring her to instantly forgive. He was not telling her to just move on. He simply reminded her that God was still separate from the people who failed her, and somehow that mattered. That night, Jane went home and opened her Bible again. Not confidently, not with strength, not expecting some dramatic miracle. She opened it gently, almost carefully, like someone learning how to trust again. Her eyes fell on Psalm 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. And suddenly, the verse felt personal. Not like a sermon, not like a motivational quote, like God Himself was sitting beside her in the silence. For the first time in a long while, Jane did not feel abandoned. She did not feel healed completely. The pain was still there. The disappointment was still real. But underneath the ache, there was something else, a small whisper of peace. A quiet reminder that God had not walked away just because people did. And that was how faith returned, not like thunder, not like a sudden explosion of joy, but like dawn after a long night, slow, gentle, fragile, but real. So now the question is not only Jane's, it is yours too. What happens when the people you thought were safe become part of the pain? When the people who spoke about God become the reason you struggle to trust again? When your faith feels wounded, embarrassed, exhausted, would you still believe? Or would you slowly begin to doubt everything? Because sometimes the hardest kind of faith is not the faith you have before heartbreak. It is the faith you choose after your heart has been broken. If this story spoke to you, type, "God is still with me," in the comments. And remember this tonight. People may fail you deeply, but God has never betrayed a single wounded heart that still reaches for Him.